living in the moment, and the moment is the future.
Welcome to SPEDTalk with Pam
and John,
also known as The Calm.
Before the Storm.
Our purpose is to elevate the conversation and amplify special education resources.
And our why is all about the kids. You know, Pam, there are so many organizations and people around Texas who are just making it happen for kids with disabilities.
So let's make this a platform to celebrate their efforts, because special education is about making the impossible possible.
Well, Pam, here we are again, back at it on the SPEDTalk thing that we do.
Yes, we are. And this time we're not in Austin. We're actually in College Station.
We are in College Station. And what do people think about when they think about College Station?
They think about Texas A&M University.
That they do, Texas A&M. And we are at Texas A&M. And we are in the Harrington Tower today. And we're here to really celebrate a program that A&M is recently, I think, really developed. I think it's been a growth of some other areas that they've worked in, and it's around working with students with disabilities, you know, in the higher ed environment, thriving and really having opportunities to have inclusive and immersive experiences, you know, in a college setting. And so we're excited to be here. We have guests with us today.
So who are our guests, John?
Well, first of all, we have Lexi and Miguel. Hi, Lexi.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Me too.
Okay, Miguel, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
And these are a couple of our students that are with us today. And then we also have two individuals with us today who are really in charge of overseeing these programs and making sure that they are meeting the mark and that they are kind of really, I think, doing what they're designed to do. And so we have Dr. Carly Gilson, who is she's an assistant professor of special education and also program director. Is that right? Okay. And then we have Dr. Olivia Hester, and I wrote down what she was somewhere and I can't find it.
So Olivia,
yeah.
You want to tell us?
So, yeah, actually the titles are, I am an assistant professor. Yes,
Okay.
That is my job, but I am also the faculty director and founder of Aggie ACHIEVE, and Olivia is the program director.
Got it. So I knew there was two separate things there.
Yes.
I got half of it close to right.
Good. Yeah,
So I'm pretty much on task, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
Well, thank you guys for inviting us. We are super excited to be here and to celebrate some of the work that you've got going on here.
So what is Aggie ACHIEVE? I'm just going to jump right in. So what is Aggie ACHIEVE for people who've never heard of it?
Sure. Aggie ACHIEVE is an inclusive and immersive learning opportunity at Texas A&M. It's a 4-year opportunity for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities to attend Texas A&M. They live on campus, they take A&M classes, and at the end, they will earn a certificate in interdisciplinary studies. It's a 4-year program. So the first 2 years focus heavily on academics, where they're getting acclimated to the university, and that's when they're each taking 3 classes here now, and the one is an A&M class, an academic class. So like Miguel is taking educational psychology, and Lexi is also taking educational psychology. They're in the same class. But some of our students are also taking theater history. And then we have another student in a special education class. And then in addition to that, they take physical education classes. And then they also take a freshman experience kind of class. And then they also have program specific seminars. So right now they're spending a lot of time in classes. And then and beginning in the spring, they will start to have internships. And those internships are going to start off short duration, 3 to 5 hours a week. And then gradually they'll spend more and more time in those internships. So by years, but they'll rotate across different sites on campus and off campus. So by years 3 and 4, we expect that the focus will shift to employment.
Mm-hmm.
And what we are preparing students for is inclusive employment and independent living in the community.
Okay.
So how many people are in the program currently for this year?
We have 5 students.
5 students starting this year.
First cohort.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pam, were you following up with a question?
Yes, I
saw you thinking.
You saw
of
that.
it.
Okay. I was going to ask just for funding, so are these students able to receive grants or I'm not like the Pell grants or
Yes,
something like that? That's
right.
what that's what
Okay,
I'm
so
going.
at this time, no.
Okay.
So in order for our students to receive financial aid, we would have to receive the designation called a comprehensive transition program, which
Okay.
is federal designation from the Department of Education. And currently we don't have that. However, we're in the process of applying for that to hopefully have it by next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, our program is self-supported,
Okay.
meaning that we don't receive money from the university or the states or federal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's supported by philanthropy and student fees.
Okay. So Lexi, you've been here for a while. Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell our audience, what do you like about being in the program?
My parents are Aggies.
Oh.
Cool. Cause my parents want me to come to A&M.
Okay.
That's important, isn't it?
So you're continuing the family legacy as being an Aggie.
Yeah.
Well, that's important.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about being here so far?
I like to dance.
Okay.
And so each student takes a physical education activity program, a different, what they call PAP course every semester, and they can choose from all kinds of different sports.
Yeah.
And so Lexi is taking social dance, and she has a dance partner in that class, and is learning all kinds of different Western dancing. And what else do you learn there?
We're doing cha-cha dance.
The cha-cha dance?
Yeah.
Ah.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah.
Cha-cha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then Miguel is in archery.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you enjoy archery, Miguel?
It's hard.
It's hard.
Takes a lot of arm strength, doesn't it? To pull the bow back.
Yeah,
So you're working real hard at it then, huh?
yeah.
That's awesome. Let me ask a question. I think all kids, as they become adults, go through a time where it's tough. It's difficult. It's hard to move from high school to college, because in high school, a lot of times we're at home with our parents and we get more support. We have more guidance. We get, if we have a question, we can get it answered in a way that we feel comfortable asking. And so moving from high school to college, being kind of a big shift, was that hard for the two of you to go from high school to college?
It's hard.
It's hard.
What's been the hardest?
Huh?
What's been hardest about it?
Anything.
Everything. Yeah.
Is it hard to be away from your family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get homesick?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. I bet they are so proud of the work you're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah. What about you, Lexi?
I'm not homesick. Sometimes I miss my family.
You just miss them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I bet you're real proud of how hard you work here and all the stuff you're learning here. Yeah. I think it's hard for all people when they leave home and they go to a new place to live and to learn. And it's just kind of something we all go through, and you just got to be determined to stick it out and you find, answers to things you didn't even know you wondered about. So I'm excited for the two of you and for others that get to come and have that experience here at A&M. And A&M has such a strong culture, an inclusive environment, really. If you're an Aggie, you're an Aggie.
Mm-hmm. They went to fish camp. Are you familiar with fish camp?
I've heard all about fish camp.
Yeah, so they went. That was their first.
What was
Learned all
that
the
like?
angles.
Lexi, what was fish camp like?
It's fun.
It was fun, huh? Yeah.
Did you like that, Miguel, too? Did you like fish camp? Was that a fun time?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Which camp were you in? Do you remember? Camp what?
Camp Super.
Camp Super. Nice. So I've got a question. So, and we talked a little before we started the episode about a little background stuff, but why Achieve and why A&M and why now? Like, what is it that's come together that A&M is taking, really, I think, a huge step forward in higher ed and saying, yeah, I mean, of course, we always come from our own perceptions. And what I perceive in this is A&M is saying, hey, people of differing abilities are welcome at A&M. We're going to have opportunities for people to come here and to thrive, regardless of, if you're strong in this way or strong in this way. We all have these strengths. And it seems like maybe you guys are trying to foster that type of thinking. And so I'm interested to hear kind of why now? Why will all these things align so that you're offering these programs now?
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to note that while Texas A&M is certainly a leader, we are not the first.
Yeah.
And so these programs are across the country. And in fact, Olivia and I both came from different programs at different universities with similar programs to Aggie Achieve. And so before I came here and was hired as a faculty member, I helped with a program at Vanderbilt called Next Steps.
Yes.
And
Love that.
yeah, and they have a great program. It went from being 2 years to 4 years while I was there. And I started off as like a peer mentor and then got really interested. And as a graduate student, became a graduate assistant and instructor. But I had nothing to do with starting it there. But when I came here, I just spoke a little bit about the program during my interview, and it piqued the interest of people here, particularly at the Center on Disability and Development. So I worked closely with the director of our CDD to start this program here, because we identified that there was a need in Texas, although there are several outstanding programs across Texas, including another program here at A&M called the PATHS program. What Texas did not yet have is a 4-year opportunity for young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities to have that full college experience.
Yeah.
So, I think this is part of a growing movement across the country. There's the National Coordinating Center is called Think College, and if you go on their website, you'll see they're adding programs all the time because they have a great interactive feature with a map of the U.S. where you can click on your state and see, what programs are around. And, just like every university and every college is different, every program is different. So some are 2 years, some are 1 year, some are residential, some are not, and might have different goals, different, populations they serve. But I think more and more it is representing this larger notion that, like what you were saying, that universities are opening their doors to being more inclusive and offering these same opportunities for this important segment of our population.
And I will say that A&M has been extremely welcoming and accommodating. The instructors, departments, anytime that something has arisen, it's not, well, we can't do that. It's, okay, how can we fix this and make it work? And so it's been a really welcoming environment for both us and the students. And then on top of that, the student body has been exceptional. So we have a student-run organization called Aggie ACHIEVE Mates, and they support our students across environments. So such as, they have a wellness partner they go to the rec center with. They have an academic mentor. They have meal partners, an organization planner. And these are Texas A&M students who are undergraduates in different departments across campus, who just want to get involved with the program. So they have designated at least 1 or 2 hours a week with a particular student to support them in a particular area. And so we had over 90 applicants apply.
I was going to ask you that.
Yes. And when all said and done, we have 70 Aggie ACHIEVE Mates. And that's just for 5 students.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So they stay really busy.
I can imagine.
But it's been really neat to see that part of the program of, Texas A&M students stepping up and saying, how can we get involved?
Absolutely. What's it like having the Aggie ACHIEVE Mates, having them there to kind of help along the way?
They are good people.
They are good people. Yeah. Have you made some friends?
Yes.
I can imagine.
Lexi, how many Aggie ACHIEVE Mates do you have? Do you know?
Not really.
A bunch.
There's that many,
A bunch. Yeah. Miguel, for you, has it been the same? Has it been good having the Aggie ACHIEVE Mates?
Yeah.
Yeah, some good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's one of your favorite friends out of your mates that come and see you? Can you think of a name? Can you think of their name?
I like Anna.
Anna?
Yeah.
So what you ought to do, you ought to say, hi, Anna, because when she listens to the recording, she'll know that
You said
were
hi
here
to
with
her.
us. So say, hi, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She's like, yeah, I got you. Like, don't call me out over here. Like, I was
All
trying to
right,
be
Amy.
cool about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your vision for the program? You said you had 5 students now. So what kind of growth would you like the program to have?
Well, I think, we want to keep it relatively small.
Okay.
Because that will allow us to really customize the experience for each student and offer that same level of individualized support. So we use a process called person-centered planning,
Okay.
which means that rather than having a set curriculum, we,
Right.
Work with each student to identify what their goals are, their strengths, and then really use that to design the optimal program for
Yeah.
them.
Okay.
And with a school like Texas A&M, there's so many opportunities. There's something for everyone here. So we've got 5 students this year, and then, we expect to grow incrementally each year. So next year, we'll probably have about 6 to 8 students in our cohort, and then of course they'll have these students. And
Yeah.
so when the program is running at capacity, probably around 12 students in each cohort.
Okay.
And our applications are posted right now on our website for entry into fall 2020.
Okay.
And so those applications can be submitted online, and those are due by December 1st.
By December 1st. So parents and students who are interested can go to the website, download those forms, fill them out, turn them in by December 1st and be considered for
Yes.
the 2020 cohort.
Now is it,
Wow, that's exciting.
kind of like PATH where they submit videos?
We did just start that this
Okay.
year. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what else? What else would you guys like to share about the program, the experience, what parents should expect, what people should think about when they're thinking about maybe, is this something I would like my child to explore?
Mm-hmm.
I think, I really think that the program is not just an adjustment for the students, but also for the parents. A lot of times, especially with students with disabilities, they're always, they have those IEP meetings and they're always communicating regularly with the teacher and talking about how they're performing. But when a student goes into post-secondary education, that communication kind of stops, especially with FERPA. And so it can be a big adjustment, not just for the student, but also for the parent. And a lot of that communication has to go through the student. And we really try to encourage that because it helps with the students' advocacy. But then also, they're young adults and mom and dad don't need to be calling their teacher or instructor to see how they performed.
Right.
So that's been, I think, an adjustment for the parents. The students have exceeded all expectations. They know their way around campus. They know the bus system better than I do. They are doing awesome. We've had some aha moments, especially in the dorm, such as, it's 2 weeks in, you need to start washing your sheets.
Right.
It's like, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I have to wash my sheets. Or scrubbing their toilet for the first time.
Like, wait a minute, where's the toilet scrubber? They send me in, so that's different. That takes some adjusting, right? To have to do your own cleaning and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. Those are good skills to learn, though. You never know when you'll put them to use. So those aha moments, I think it's those aha moments that give us opportunities to really refine our practice and really circle back to our intent, and that we want, like in this case, individuals to come and have an experience that is that of their peers, of their students that are more maybe don't have a disability that's in class at A&M and living in dorms.
That doesn't
And
expect
if-
people
right,
to
and
wash their sheets.
Right, exactly.
They have those aha moments too.
I mean, so that's the goal, I think, is that these aha moments, that we all have them, because
Right.
we all have similar availability to these experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you had mentioned in the third year that you're looking at internship, moving more toward employment.
Mhm.
So you said on campus and off campus. So are you looking at partnering with Texas Workforce Commission or Texas Workforce Solution? I'm not sure who's in this area.
We haven't really started those conversations yet, but we're hoping to. So the internships are going to start on campus.
Okay.
And they'll start actually the next semester,
Next one.
second semester of the student's first year.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're planning those out right now.
Okay.
And then the fourth year, we're really working on them finding that job, whether it's if they want to stay in College Station when they graduate, great, or if they want to go back home or somewhere else, really bridging that gap between graduation and their gainful employment position.
Right.
We want them to graduate from this program employed. We don't want them just going back home
Right.
and doing what they were doing before.
Right.
You don't want them, as I would say, don't transition to the couch.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That's disheartening.
Yes,
Yeah,
All the work
it
you put
is.
in, and when you know they're very much capable
Oh, yeah.
of maintaining employment
Right.
and living a full life. So,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
So do you have I just out of curiosity, do you have a like a specific process that you go through with families when they're considering this? Like, is there, I mean, I imagine, I guess,
Orientation.
yeah, like an orientation process that involves helping them understand some of these changes?
Do you mean after they're admitted? Or?
No, I mean kind of leading up to it. Even.
Oh,
like,
okay.
like, well, for example, like if we, like, say I was a father and I was going to bring my wife, we're going to bring our kids, and we wanted to let them kind of walk the campus and look through kind of that looking glass. Like, is there anything set up to orient them about that consideration? Of
Yes.
maybe
We do have
going
open
to-
houses.
Okay, open houses.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had we have 4 this fall, right?
Yes.
And then we also, and so the fall open houses are primarily for people who are interested in applying for fall
Yeah,
2020
yeah.
because
Right.
we want to target. We've had a lot of people express interest, but some,
Right.
their kids are much younger, they're not ready yet.
Sure.
So this open house opportunity is just for people who are interested in the fall. And we've had several on campus, but they're all filled. But on November 8th, we're going to have a live webinar that people can listen to, and then it'll be recorded so they can
Yeah.
hear it after. But it'll have all the same information as
Sure.
the open house, so people don't feel like they need to come to campus
Yeah.
in order to get this information. So really, it's just providing an overview of our program and specifically the eligibility criteria, the admissions
Yeah.
process, and going over all those things with them. And then in the spring, we're going to have more open houses, and those will be open for not just fall 2020, but
Yeah.
others as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I see it's 11:15. What time was it that our guests had to
Yes.
transition to their next stop?
Where are y'all gonna go in a minute? Where are you going?
I'm going MSc.
You see?
The MSc, and that's the Student Center.
Yes.
And who are you meeting there?
Sissy.
Sissy.
Who is an Aggie ACHIEVE?
Yes.
Y'all are getting lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to the student center too?
Baby.
Yeah. Still deciding on that.
There's hamburgers there, so
That helps. Ah, look at that smile. Somebody likes hamburgers.
Yes, he does.
All right, well, y'all go have fun.
Hey, thank
Thank
y'all
you.
for being
Thank you
on
for coming
SPEDTalk
in.
with us.
Thank
This was
you.
awesome.
Thank you guys.
Have a good day.
You guys are awesome, and have a wonderful day.
Lexi, I'll see you tonight.
Okay.
I'm so glad they got to be here. Their schedules worked out.
Yes.
Yeah, they sound busy. I think they're busier than we are, Pam. Well, I don't know if I could keep up all that schedule, but all these chief mates driving, whipping me and telling me what to do. Come on, let's
All
go,
those
let's go, let's
social
go.
activities,
Yeah.
I know.
They're also involved in student organizations themselves. So like
Yeah.
Lexi is involved with Aggie Emerald, which is a women's organization on campus. And Miguel is involved with Best Buddies. We have another student who's
Best Buddies. I think I've heard of that organization. Talk about
Yes.
Best Buddies for a minute.
So Best Buddies is mostly on college campuses,
Uh-huh.
but it's when they're paired with a Texas A&M student.
Yeah.
So they have Best Buddy events typically once a month. And then, the Best Buddy will reach out to them per week and be like, hey, do you want to go grab dinner or do you want to go bowling or something? And so it's not only for students, not only for our organization, but also in the community. So anyone can join Best Buddies in their communities.
Okay. Yeah.
So far, what have been the biggest challenge for this program? Or have there been any
I have to
challenges?
pick just one.
I think what's,
Pick one or two. It's your call.
I think what's been hard is the amount of need that we see in Texas for these type of programs, and knowing that we can't accept everyone.
Yeah.
So that's been really tough,
Right.
especially when talking with parents and meeting their young adults. And we've had to be very strategic. And I mean, we don't do private sit downs with families and things like that. We want to make sure it's a completely fair process for everyone.
Sure.
And so, but it's been hard with the amount of interest we've had in the program, and then also knowing realistically how many students we can take.
Yeah.
So what would you say to another university who's looking at your program but somewhat reluctant to jump into this whole concept of taking student with intellectual disability and establishing a separate program, but an inclusive program?
Yeah.
So what would you say to a university to encourage them to take the leap?
I would say take the leap.
Okay.
and really find your people on your campus who are going to be the champions of the program, besides just you. I mean, as Olivia said, we've been really fortunate here where we've gotten just so much enthusiasm and reception to this idea. But that it's important when starting that people identify who those leaders are, those partners on campus. And it might be in unlikely places, it might be, I mean, of course you want to have the administrators and the deans and presidents and stuff, all those people who are important to gain the approval. But in addition to that, it's the people who, might be in different departments across campus, in athletics or, in the university libraries,
Food service prep.
Yes,
you'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, you need
'Cause we
champions in all these different areas and leadership in all these different areas so that we can really ensure that experience that our students are getting is that top-notch experience that any student would get.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as much as possible, we're trying to have the voices, like the promotion of the program, come from those people.
Yeah.
Because that's really showing like, hey, this is good for A&M.
Yes.
This is good for everybody here.
Yeah.
And that includes our students as well,
Yeah.
our A&M students. So.
Yeah, I think, go ahead, Amy.
I was just thinking that, and as you show how this continues to grow and mature, it will be exciting to think that there may be options for scholarships and different things that grow on a federal level as well, especially since we do see it nationally. There's such a push for immersive programs, inclusion, and all of that. So I just think it's exciting. I know there's some junior colleges, but I have, and I knew of the PATH program, but I mean, really, this is, I just think it's exciting and gives me, we're having a career fair in a couple of weeks. And so this really gives me some information that I can share with parents whenever we speak to them. So
Great.
So thank you so much. I'm typing that in.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You got something, Pam?
No, I really don't, John.
You got to be kidding me. You ain't got nothing. Pam, you always got something on me over here.
I know.
Well, so I can't help but think that, when I think about inclusion as a concept, I think a lot of times in K-12 education, people a lot of times equate inclusion to mean a term we use for funding mainstream. It's like, how do we get our money? So where do kids sit?
Yeah.
And I think, a lot have started to realize that, for every child, it's not about where they sit or what they learn. It's the experience that they have in that space. And that's what shapes their character. I think their self-determination, their grit, their belief in their own abilities. And so when we think about tapping really potential and human possibility, and if we're going to be able to achieve that in a K-12 setting, and then when we get to the end of that road, say, well, that was a neat social experience. I'm so glad you got to benefit from it, but now we got nothing for you.
Yes.
In some ways, how does that even add up? So for me, this is just a validation of so much work that's gone on really at the K-12 level to say, no, everybody has value. Everybody can shine. Everybody has a God-given gift in there somewhere. Our job as educators is to find it and to
Yes.
refine it. And so I feel like this program, I've noticed it's getting a lot of attention around the state, and I've seen it being promoted on media and things like that. And I think rightfully so, because, and not for necessarily what it is currently, which is a new program, which aspires to do these things. But I think because of the message it sends, which is, hey, come one, come all, we got something for you. And we all get a seat at the table.
Absolutely.
And we're, all
Yeah.
going to receive equal and fair treatment. So
Definitely.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. And what I've really noticed is this generation of college students, they've grown up with inclusion being the norm. And that is so evident. As we were saying earlier, we had 90 applicants for the Aggie Achieve Mates, and I think we could have gotten double that if we had more time to recruit across campus. And our students, our current A&M students, they're excited to be a part of it, but it's also like, of course, it's not even a question of should we do this? It's how can I help?
yes.
And how can we help improve this experience overall? So I think it not only helps the students directly served in the program, but also the broader population, broader A&M community, because they're able to help facilitate this important aspect of inclusion in higher education.
Yeah.
Saying that just reminds me of, when you look at families, if you have a child with disabilities, some families are like, okay, we're all in.
Yeah.
This child's not being left out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, that's what something like this is.
Yeah.
That, makes no difference. The kid has a disability. They're part of the A&M family. So therefore
Yes.
we're all in.
Right.
And so we're going to help support this program as much as possible. And I think that's what we're seeing in the bigger society.
Yes.
I've been in special education a very long time. And I remember when I first started out, and then, professors were talking about, family grieving about having kids with disabilities. And then when the kids entered public school, it was like this, I want to apologize because I have this child with a disability. And now it's like, those feelings have gone away. I'm not saying that some parents don't grieve. What I'm saying is that I don't see parents making excuses or making apologies for having a child with disabilities. That I see parents who are wanting the best for their child and wanting the opportunity, for that child to be educated to, as best as possible and to reach their full potential. And in the greater society around that child, it's like, hey, we got to make sure that, other people understand that Joey, who has a disability, should be valued because the friends are valuing them, and they don't see the disability, they just see joy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They see possibility.
Yeah, and I think that's that's the good thing about inclusion. People will say, what's so good about it? It's because people are just people. And we're not excluding. To have inclusion, you have to exclude. So it's kind of like that really does make a lot of sense. It makes, if we're going to educate all people, then we should be educating all people.
Yeah.
And so just to see that as all these years of, especially in Texas, when we started focusing on inclusion in the 1990s, John. Yes, I was around there.
Well, I remember the music was good in the 90s. I loved all that grunge music.
I knew it was going to go.
I bet you were into Nirvana, weren't you? I bet you were. I can see you listening to old Chris Cornell, Soundgarden. Woo, yeah, the Golden Vocal.
We're not going to talk about that. But even in the 90s, when TA really looked at focusing on inclusive practices and just some of the mindsets and the changes that were made, where people were like, oh, why have we been doing this always? And it's good to see, based on the information you're sharing, the generations here, students are saying, why aren't we doing this? We've been doing this. So this is not hard.
Something stood out to me, and this is something I made a note about. You see my note taking is kind of all over the place. That's kind of, if you peeled my brain back, you'd see this jarbled goop of words that I just reach up and grab all the time, So, but anyway, but my point being that the person-centered planning process. So I have a theory of strength-based special ed, right? That until we shift to a process that digs for strengths, that our quest is to find what is right about you versus what is wrong, we'll continue to live in a deficit system. because our system is designed off deficits, and everything we do is designed on an exclusionary model that says, well, if this is you, if you fit under this umbrella that holds about 80% of our people, well, then you can come in and thrive, I guess. But if you don't, then you're abnormal.
Right.
And so it's that universal design mindset, and it's that belief that, and so to me, when I hear this, I think, well, that's what I'm talking about, person-centered, right? And Carl Rogers and his psychological theories, there's so much of what we've done is that person-centered. And when we talk about making data decision, I always say, it's child decision making.
Yeah.
Because when we make decisions, no data matters unless it's referenced back to a human being.
Right.
Data is just stuff on a page.
Right.
So I love that you're using the person-centered planning process, because that really does take more of a strength-based.
Absolutely.
And it's exciting to know that. And I think I've learned something here about that. I'm going to go study that. So I've got my homework to do, Pam. But I really do. I think that you guys are really, really, really making a difference here for families and for students and for Lexi's parents who are Aggies through and through. And now their daughter is an Aggie too. She wasn't excluded from that opportunity because of her born abilities.
Right.
So that's really important.
And where I'm from more of the rural area. And so what I think is exciting about, even though there's programs, because I've gone online and pulled down all the college programs that are available for students with IDD and shared it and everything, but we don't have in our area, they would have to come 5 or 6 hours away, which is an apprehension within itself. But what I think is cool about what you're doing is really giving a lens for other people to see. This is this is the possibility of what we can do. And it really, when we share, then it goes back to those small rural, because a lot of those parents don't want their kids 6 hours away, even though they are adults. But just thinking about how other universities could mimic what you're doing, and then, but also then looking at those students that are coming 2-3 hours to come to school, and just that possibility. And so I'm really excited about sharing this, because I had not seen the Achieve. It was all through the PATH program up until John had said, hey, let's go and talk to you guys about the Achieve program.
Thanks, Amy, by the way. I know you're not with us today. Shout out to Amy.
Not me, Amy. So yeah.
So my question, going back to the financial aid, because you said you guys have not been approved for the comprehensive transition program, so you're not eligible. The student's not eligible for scholarships or grants.
Right.
Okay. So financially, so how are students paying for this? I know this can't be cheap. Any program, college program costs money. So
Yes.
so if a family's looking at this, what should they anticipate as far as financially the cost of this, or do you have plans or sponsorships to help offset the costs? Or like to develop scholarships. I'm just throwing a lot out here. You can stop me at any time.
I think what you're asking is sustainability. Like, how do we make sure that this thing?
Okay, you can say one word, John.
Well, everybody that listens to this know I'm a man of few words, and I just am concise. I can usually just drop one word and that'll say it all. But you just go on and on, Pam.
Please answer my question.
Yes. Money is, it's a touchy topic, so I can see if people just start kind of fumbling with their words when we talk about it. But so we are a self-supported program. So our students pay approximately $20,000 a year. Some of that is paid out to the university for the services that they are accessing. Such as like the rec center and technology services and things like that. And then the rest of it is program fee. And the breakdown is on our website if people are interested in that. And then on top of that, they pay for housing, room and board. So,
do they live on campus or?
Yes.
Okay.
They do. And right now they live in like apartment style dorms, really nice dorms.
And I know I may be going off in the weeds here.
Let her
Well,
finish where you get
yeah.
in.
Okay, she's
Let her
still
finish.
going.
She's still going.
So because I also want to give a shout out to the HEB, the Tournament of Champions.
Oh,
They
Yes.
Yes.
they provided a large grant to us last year that
Love the
allowed
HEB.
us to hire Olivia as a program director, allowed us to get the program off the ground before we received a dime from
Yeah.
our students. So that was very helpful. We have a graduate assistant. We just like administrative startup costs have been really appreciative. So, and then moving forward now, we want to be in a place where we are sustainable, where we are, we're not relying on donations. And that's something that's important, at the college level, of course, too. So, what we really want is for opportunities for our students to have scholarships, as well as opportunities to just like kind of offset the cost in general. So we work with the Texas A&M Foundation and work closely with development officers who are housed in our College of Education, and they're on the road all the time promoting our program and helping us raise money. So if people are interested in that, then there's also information about that on our website, and or you could find it through Texas A&M Foundation by searching Aggie Achieve.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was gonna ask you, if people wanted to donate, how do you do it? And so it's through, how to get a hold of you again, slow.
The website,
Mhm.
the URL.
Okay, URL, Achieve.
It's right now the easiest way.
Mr. Google. Google.
Yeah, that is the easiest way. And the shortest form of it is tx.ag
Okay,
/Aggie Achieve.
okay.
That's the
That's
shortest
what I
one, and then
wanted,
it'll
yes.
redirect you to our page.
Perfect.
Because we're housed in the educational psychology department, you'll see the EPSY kind of heading over there. But
And there's a donate now button there.
Perfect.
And in order for us to grow our program, we really do need more funding, especially to hire more staff,
Right.
because we want to keep it individualized.
Yeah.
And so to open this up to more programs, to more applicants, we rely on that funding.
Right.
Yeah.
So whether it's scholarships or even a donation of some kind.
Right. Cool.
We also, when you're on our website, we have a newsletter that you can sign up for. And so we send out monthly updates of what's going on in our program, application deadlines, those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's important. A lot of people read those newsletters, so having an effective newsletter, they're out to market that is a good thing to do. I think a lot of people, it's kind of like the podcast, the newsletter, people aren't just getting their news from the 5:00 evening news anymore, right? We're getting our information in all of these different ways, and we need to find ways to get it to people in different formats. So,
and we're on social media too, which is how a lot of
Facebook,
people get their
Twitter,
news.
Instagram.
that's where we all get it now, What do you mean? I saw it on Facebook. I know it was real. Yeah.
Did you have a question, John?
So my question was, and I didn't know if there was an analysis done at all where you looked at in relationship to what our students that are in the Achieve program are paying out of pocket to those. They're non-disabled peers. Is that, because it's not cheap to go to college as it is. I know I've got one in college and I'm actually in college, and so college is expensive. And so like from a program's perspective, you want it to be sustainable and you want it to be hopefully profitable and all those things that go into making successful programs and sustaining and growing them, right? But then too, at the flip side of that, I wonder if there had been an analysis to look at like a more typical student attending A&M, it would cost XYZ. Well, compared to this student who's attending A&M, what is that? And then, so that was my question.
Yes. Yeah, and the way that we arrived at the program cost was based on that analysis and based on not just the direct services that students are paying for, but more so like
the wraparound,
the overhead of the experience. Yeah,
Right.
like even being in this department, we've got our business manager who manages our accounts, like paying for the time that she spends on Aggie Achieve, paying for the time that everybody across campus is going to spend, and then as well as just like, I don't know, the overhead. I wasn't part of the analysis, but they just kind of gave me the number. I do think, it's probably comparable, but I think the harder thing is that the students don't qualify for a lot of the supports that most students do qualify for to make college more affordable. Like if the student was we've had people ask this, if they were in the foster care system, then they can attend a state school.
Right.
But that doesn't
apply to this population.
It doesn't apply.
Students.
Yeah. So that makes it really challenging.
Yeah.
Especially for being a state school and being
Sure.
like a land grant university, we want to be the place, especially where people in Texas are going to school, and
Sure.
and we want it to be something that's accessible.
Yeah, and a lot of times it takes people like yourselves and A&M and the Achieve program to put yourself out there and kind of reshape the experience and the rules. And then those other entities have to catch up and say, well, we don't want to penalize kids for being born with certain abilities from certain experiences that are available to them. We've never thought about it before because they were never available to them before. So I think that's how change occurs, is that we put ourselves into those new spaces. And then that is, in some ways, I think how all change occurs. And then it has to retroactively be addressed.
Absolutely.
So, cheers for that work. That's really awesome. Pam?
I have nothing else, John.
Well, I don't either.
So
I feel like I'm all talked out.
That's unbelievable, John.
I know it is.
I've been
Nice.
jabbered all the way here.
Throw me under the bus. Thank y'all for letting us come and
Thank you.
spend
Thank
time
you.
with you here today.
Thank you for visiting us.
Yeah.
We look forward
Anytime.
to seeing the programs prosper and hope we get to come back and talk to you about how much things have changed and grown in a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 5 years from now.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Cool.
And we'll let you know when we get the podcast published, so you guys can listen to it and share
Great.
with others.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, thank
That's
y'all.
so great.
Thank you. Or you
Really
can sit there and go,
appreciate it.
we'll never do this again.
And this is for my buddy Mike. Whoop!
Thank
Like
you.
a natural.
Thank you.
To continue to elevate the conversation, hit us up on Twitter at SPEDTalk 2020, where you can find links to all of our episodes and each of the resources that we discussed today.
John, also links to the resources will be available at our podcast site.
And if you found these resources helpful, be sure to share them with a friend, because information should always flow through us, not to us.
That will do it for this episode of SPEDTalk.
And remember, courage creates culture and kindness keeps us connected.
Until the next time, I'm Pam,
And I've been John.
and this is
SPEDTalk.
Living in the moment, and the moment is the future.